Exercise 7-21. Prepare incremental analysis for a make or buy decision. SY Telc has recently started to manufacture RecRobo, a three-wheeled robot that can scan a home for fires and gas leaks and then transmit this information to a mobile phone. The cost structure to manufacture 20,000 RecRobos is as follows. The direct materials is $700,000 or $35 per robot. The direct labor is $30 per robot or $600,000. Variable overhead is $10 per robot or $200,000, and allocated fixed overhead is $25 per robot or $500,000. So the total cost to manufacture 20,000 RecRobos is $2 million. SY Telc is approached by Chen Inc., which offers to make RecRobo for $80 per unit or $1.6 million. So we're going to use incremental analysis to decide whether they should accept the offer under the independent assumptions. So the first assumption we're going to make is we assume that $400,000 of the fixed overhead costs are avoidable. So let's look at make or buy in the first situation. So if we decide to continue to make the products, we're still going to have $700,000 in direct materials. The direct labor will stay the same. The variable overhead is $200,000. The fixed overhead is $5,000, which gives us an annual cost of $2 million. So that was given in the question. That's how much it costs to make the 20,000. If we decide to buy them, we would avoid the direct materials, we'd avoid the direct labor, we'd avoid the variable overhead, we'd avoid $400,000 of fixed overhead, which leaves us with $100,000 that's unavoidable, right? So currently it's $500,000. We can avoid $400,000, which means we'd have $200,000 or $100,000 we'd still have to cover, and it would cost us $1.6 million to buy. So the total cost to buy is a $1.7 million. Currently we make them for $2 million. So if we look at it in terms of increasing or decreasing income, our decision would be we would be better off if we buy them, we would have less costs. So again, our variable costs less the purchase price would be $300,000. So right, $2 million to make, it's only going to cost us $1.7 million to buy, which means our net income would increase by $300,000. So we would accept this offer. Okay, so we'd look at how much it costs to make them versus how much it's going to cost to buy them, including all relevant costs. That $100,000 of fixed costs that's unavoidable, we'd still have to pay, has to be added to the price to buy it. But that's only 1.7, which means it would still cost us less to buy. The second assumption says assume none of the fixed overhead is avoidable. However, if the robots are purchased from Chen, SY Telc can use the released productive resources to generate additional income of $200,000. So again, to make, we're going to include all the costs, direct materials, direct labor, fixed overhead, and variable overhead. However, it's also costing us $200,000 if we make them that we could be earning making something else. So the capacity we're using in our manufacturing plant to make RecRobos, if we weren't making RecRobos, we could make $200,000 of other income by generating other products. So that's an opportunity cost that we're losing because we're making RecRobos. If we weren't making RecRobos, we could make another $200,000 in revenue from other products. So we include that in the make cost. Right? It's costing us, we're losing out on $200,000 in other income. So the total cost to make them in this scenario is $2.2 million. In terms of buying, well, in this case, we don't avoid any of the overhead, so we're still going to have to pay the $500,000 in overhead. The purchase price is still $1.6 million, so now it's costing us $2.1 million to buy. So again, in this scenario, it is still better off to buy the item because it's going to cost us $2.1 million to buy. It's costing us in our lost opportunity cost $2.2 to make, so we would still accept this offer as our income would increase by $100,000. Now B says, what qualitative factors might affect the decision? Well, we'd have to consider if we have to lay off employees that produce the robot. That could be poor morale for remaining employees. We'd want to make sure our quality standards were equal from the ones we're getting from Cheng Company as the ones we're making. Again, we want to make sure that our suppliers can increase or decrease their activity levels to meet SY Telc's activity levels should they grow or contract, and controlling the purchase price in the future. Will they bump up the price in the future where it's going to be more expensive? So how long is that price good for? So main one here is quality. Are they going to be of the same quality, and will we have to lay off? In our first one, it looks like we weren't going to do anything else, so we might be laying off people. In the second scenario, if we were going to earn something else, we'd probably be keeping employees and making something new. So we just want to make those considerations. So it's not just always financial data. There's non-financial data we have to consider.